Hey, heads up, Metaphor ReFantazio is one of those games where it's really hard to hide the spoilers, so I would just consider this full spoilers going ahead. Okay, let me start by saying I love this game. Incredible art direction, turn-based combat with RPG customization system that really scratches an itch.
I'll cut you down! Almost finished!
Let's stay calm.
Heartfelt characters with a cunning, complex and charismatic antagonist.
Speak or die.
Storytelling and writing is for the most part brilliant. Basically, in this fantasy world, the king has been murdered, a big tournament is being held to help decide the next king, with contenders earning the people's favour. Whoever earns the most favour by a certain date will be the next king.
One has to ask, them dead, who shall take the throne?
The story is brilliant, with factions forming, political battles with plenty of lies, manipulation, maybe even pulling that metaphorical rug from right under you. It's quite dark, doesn't pull any punches, and it feels like it's for older audiences.
What our country needs is power!
In our world where certain game studios are saying mainstream players don't want turn-based JRPGs in 2024, Atlus is out here showing them they're wrong. Metaphor ReFantazio is bloody brilliant. It's so good I push myself to complete this 100%.
Right on target!
Every collectible, every side quest, new game plus, super bosses, and every achievement, and it was worth it.
Ooh, big talk!
So general gameplay works around managing your time, and ultimately there are looming time limits before the story progresses or ends, which I know does put some people off, but bear with me. Every little action affects people's perspective of you, and you want their favour in your pursuit of the throne. You'll spend your time leveling up your skills through various activities like reading books or training, venturing out to explore side dungeons, or hanging out with followers and friends, which strengthens the bonds with those characters. And it does sound a bit like the Persona series.
Oh, right. Of course.
Yeah, here comes the inevitable comparison. Both Persona and Metaphor have been developed by Atlus, and something I always stress about with these kind of games, I'm always worried that the game will run out of time before I max out all my followers and complete everything I want to do. I can confirm that Metaphor is a lot more lenient. I felt like I had a lot more time here to spend with friends and followers and properly max out my follower bonds.
Try not to die out there.
It has to be said, visuals are incredible. While graphical fidelity might be a bit weaker in places with low polygon counts and some weaker textures here and there, honestly it doesn't matter because the actual art design and art direction in this game is top notch. It brings it all to life. Anime style cinematics are pretty cool.
Now fall in line! Unless you want to get stuck like a...
User interface in particular is so slick, colourful and overly designed or over the top.
Mystic fire! Push the assault!
Every time you engage an enemy, or even when an enemy engages you, you get a little anime style animation that syncs up with your 3D character model.
Brace yourselves!
I love it, and it's just a combination of these little things and attention to detail that oozes passion.
Push onward!
Hands down, my favourite element of Metaphor ReFantazio is the storytelling and character writing. Throughout the game, political tensions are slowly building up between factions and even religion, and I was hooked from a few hours in till the story literally explodes and blows my socks off. The story is dark, which contrasts with its colourful anime-style characters. It doesn't pull any punches, and it's for an older audience.
Right.
I find Luis to be a fascinating antagonist and a powerful character.
My name is Luis Guiabern. I am the rightful king, he who will forge anew this unworthy country into a utopia.
He stands tall behind his ideals as this bold, confident, charismatic character, poised for the throne. And in some regards, I even came to respect him. Even though you know he's totally evil, if Luis becomes king, he promises equality, but Luis has a very different definition of true equality to me. And after finishing Metaphor, I found its deeper symbolism really resonated with me. In a fantasy world and how anxiety and fear is exploited, but you'll have to finish this nearly 100-hour long JRPG to see what I mean. And if this content resonates with you, consider subbing to Peter Bytes or liking the video for more content like this. Cover lots of RPGs, you might like my Final Fantasy series where I'm replaying them all and ranking them against each other as I go. Thank you.
Alright, next! Hurry it up!
So this is a turn-based JRPG. Slick turn-based combat where tactical gameplay like exploiting enemies' weaknesses gets you extra turns.
Bird got them right in the magic secret.
And you really want to make use of those extra turns because enemies can get extra turns too, and they can be pretty deadly. You want to try and defeat enemies before they get the chance to do anything, and you'll get a little experience points boost for coming out of fights unscathed.
That's the last of them. The way's clear.
Something new I really like is that as you level up and outgrow monsters, you don't have to enter turn-based combat for weaker enemies. You can just quickly chop them up and still get all the rewards. It's a huge time saver, and I'd even grind some extra levels up like this. It was kinda fun. Like a lot of turn-based RPGs, you can assign party members to the back or front row. In the front row they'll take more damage, but also deal more physical damage with close-range weapons. In Metaphor, you can move a character between rows without using up their turn, and I'd regularly find myself swapping characters into the back to brace for huge incoming enemy attacks. The freedom with jumping between rows adds to the sense of strategy.
Stepping back. Are you prepared?
Something I love in RPGs are deep customization systems. Metaphor has a class or job system called Archetypes. You can swap characters' archetypes from healers, snipers to dark knights.
Behold my power.
Pretty decent. There's a cool selection of archetypes with more advanced ones unlocked by increasing your bonds with followers and friends. But what I really like is that as you play about with different archetypes and level them up, you can mix and match the abilities you've unlocked across different archetypes for some cool combos and satisfying customization. I'd have my main character specialise in both healing and offensive magic, while being efficient with his MP for those longer dungeons. Music is pretty good, full of these crazy chants. It's unique, quite memorable compared to a lot of other games. There's voice acting too. Sometimes you get these Japanese games and the English dub isn't that great, but that's not the case with Metaphor ReFantazio. Voice acting is brilliant, especially the Knight Hulkenberg and our antagonist Luis.
Ha! What glorious spectacle!
But this leads into my biggest criticism with Metaphor. Not every line of dialogue is voice acted. Voice acting can be expensive, I know, but it would have been nice if the time you spent raising your follower bond levels was actually voice acted. I do think their final dialogues are voice acted, but that's about it. While I'm at it, one more nitpick.
Need you voice every little complaint?
There is a super boss, but you'll need to replay the game again on New Game Plus to access that super boss. Why couldn't I just grind a bit and fight that super boss in my first playthrough? There's an achievement for beating that super boss, and it really extended my playtime going for that 100%. But at least a lot of stuff does carry over into New Game Plus. I was also missing a few collectibles and odd things, so I picked them up on my New Game Plus playthrough.
Let the final banquet begin.
Time to see how many Peter Bytes Metaphor ReFantazio has earned. Alright, probably the best story writing I've experienced in 2024. This kind of more mature political storytelling is something I didn't even realise I wanted in a game until now. I was hooked from a few hours in. Love that art design and over-the-top stylish menus and user interface. Music is pretty good with those crazy chants. Voice acting gets a thumbs up. I just wish more dialogue was actually voice acted. I thought the turn-based combat was great, and to be honest, I really loved having to micromanage my MP and supplies so I could complete dungeons in a single trip. I play so many RPGs where managing your supplies and mana really doesn't matter, so it's a breath of fresh air in that regard. I consider some good RPG customization systems to be a cornerstone of a quality RPG, and Metaphor delivers with its archetype class system, especially when you can mix and match abilities across classes. Just a brilliant JRPG. I feel its story, themes and symbolism really resonates with me. I'm giving this 91 Peter Bytes, easily a strong contender for my Game of the Year 2024, and if you're still not convinced, there's a pretty big demo, go give it a try. Alright, I'll be looking at Final Fantasy X soon, and my plan is to do a review on Dragon Age 4, or Dragon Age Veilguard, but peace for now.